It is always easy to look at what Blizzard is doing and point out what they are not doing. It's also easy to demand more whenever they speak of all the actions that have been taken in favor of a more pleasant gameplay experience. And particularly when it comes to something so important like throwers, the community is undeniably going to care a heck of a lot. I want to preface this video by saying that yes, Blizzard is doing things, but whenever I see people who defend them by pointing out how other games are worse, I just kinda shake my head. Just being better than the competition does not warrant a pat on the back with a good job. An industry-leading behemoth like Blizzard Entertainment should be held to a higher standard, and this is why I made today's video. Today, my friends, I want to lead your attention to a Reddit post suggesting that if the developers proactively ban people based on evidence present on social media, then all they have to do is watch XQC stream to get at least a dozen bans per day. Of course, this is referencing the most recent developer update in which Jeff Kaplan highlighted that they go out of their way to find evidence of players misbehaving to then action them in-game. And believe it or not, Jeff himself also replied to this post, which given that he did so outside of office hours is pretty surprising. Sorry if I missed it in this thread, but can someone post a link to the clip of whoever is throwing? It's very easy to action people if there's video evidence, we just need to see it. Now that one kinda threw me off, if I'm entirely honest. It is easy to action people if there's video evidence, and yet there's no easy or obvious way for players to provide said evidence. According to XQC himself, he collected a number of clips showcasing players who would most definitely be worth banning and is yet to even receive a reply. A player, mind you, who should have much easier access to a spokesperson given that he is an Overwatch League player. Honestly, I'm gonna have to agree with the comment saying that even just designating a handful of people to check a few of the highly populated livestreams on Twitch would grant them an excessive amount of material to work with. In fact, I do find it almost a bit unfair that pro players, in their own spare time, on their own streams, are being held to such vastly higher standards proposed by Blizzard and the League. However, anyone else is held to virtually no standards whatsoever. How can a player speak favorably of the game when others go out of their way to ruin their matches one way or another and they never get action for it, especially when thousands or even tens of thousands of people are watching and the evidence is right there. It is more than anecdotal evidence when I state that players griefing, misbehaving and even hacking has been displayed on massive live streams for months without those players ever seeing any sort of action taken on them. And that, my friends, is why we are dealing with the impression that Blizzard only listens if you get enough upvotes on Reddit. Something that the subreddit itself obviously does not want to have happen because witch hunting is, as far as I know, strictly against their TOS. So we are not allowed to showcase our evidence portraying players misbehaving on Reddit to get the upvotes and attention that we need to have them get actioned, and there is also no way of easily providing this evidence to Blizzard directly. And if even a League player cannot get a reply to their evidence, then how can we hope to ever get noticed? Thousands of upvotes were necessary to be deemed worthy of receiving a reply from a developer, and the general question has not even been answered either. They did confirm that YouTube was a source they used to proactively hand out bans, and while that does not necessarily imply that they don't do the same on Twitch, it is odd to have them leave it out in the first place and then fail to address it when brought up again. Obviously, a lot of players, including pros, would love to see others banned for more reasons than Blizzard would agree with, but the notion stands. Popular live streams are being targeted over and over again. Those players that you hold to such vastly higher standards are being provoked to misbehave, and you do nothing to take action against that. And I wouldn't be defending them as much as I do was it not for the fact that you demand they are representing you and the League even in their own spare time. We are not talking about somebody flipping off a camera during a live match. This is them trying to unwind on their own streams, being targeted and pushed into a position where they can't possibly enjoy the game anymore. And you hold them responsible for that, which, don't get me wrong, I can understand that. Maybe this even was part of the contract, but you should take a step into the direction of creating an environment that has them want to speak favorably about the game, rather than force them into silence because they are afraid of getting benched for a season. Listen, Jeff, I know that things are not black and white, and I know that it's not fair of me to fire against you as much as I do for this one statement that you gracefully decided to give to us in your own spare time. But just like you hold XQC responsible for something that he said in his own spare time, I'll take the freedom to do the same with your statement. Of course, there are complications associated with allowing players to submit video evidence directly to Blizzard. The game is not only full of incidents that would warrant seeing action taken, but players, again, would also love for you to be more harsh on certain things that you refuse to acknowledge. I'm convinced that opening up this service would mean that you get flooded with video evidence for a good while before it dies down again, but it is in your responsibility to create a pleasant environment for the players, isn't it? We already go out of our ways to report others, and we're glad to see that work, but some cases require more urgency. As you said it yourself, some players deserve to get action before any report is even filed in the first place, and especially in the case of hackers, I dare say that seeing these guys banned ASAP is very important. I mean, I'm sure I don't have to tell you how these things work, but for the sake of those in the comment section saying they don't have the manpower to review as much footage as this community provides, they have the resources to make it happen, undeniably. And when it comes to players abusing the system, do the same that you do for the report system. Either punish those abusing it or blacklist them so they no longer flood the gates. It boggles my mind how many honestly simple things this game is lacking. A clan feature, a team league, a platform to provide video evidence of players misbehaving. All these things seriously should have been implemented a long time ago. And again, Jeff, I know that all these things are easier said than done, but a good while after a year I do start to question your priorities. There are handfuls of things I could list that you did which honestly should not have come before any of the things that I just mentioned. But I guess ultimately it is your call and not ours, and since I can't speak to you directly, I'm gonna reach out to my audience. What do you guys think about this? Do we need a platform to provide video evidence of others misbehaving? And should streamers just be expected to suck up the trolls that actively try to ruin their matches? Or do you think Blizzard is not doing their own system justice by neglecting to keep tabs on Twitch? I'd love to hear what you guys have to say about this. But until then, this is me done for the day, so thank you everybody so much for watching. Don't forget to drop me a like on your way out if you enjoyed the video, subscribe if you want to see more, and I hope to see you all next time.